everyone, I'm Michelle Irwin, CMO at Sky, and I'm here for a very special episode of Retail Media Thursdays with Dan Larden from ISBA, as we talk all about their recently released report into the state of retail media in the UK. Dan, hello, welcome to Retail Media Thursdays.
Thank you very much, great to be here.
Do you want to introduce yourself and a little bit about ISBA for anybody that might not be familiar?
Yeah, sure. I'm Dan Larden, I'm Head of Media at ISBA. ISBA is a UK trade body for brands. So for our American audience, that's the UK equivalent of the ANA in the US. And yeah, we exist, we're 125 years old actually, this year, just about to do our 125th anniversary. In fact, I was actually desperately trying to figure out if any retail members were our existing founders, because I was going to try and make some sort of tenuous link that we've been talking about retail media in some way for 125 years, but I haven't been able to find that. But if I can find, I think, I have a feeling Boots, or the Boots family were very early on, so maybe that's a discussion for another podcast where we can dive deep into how long retail media has been going on for. But yes, so we're a trade body for brands, and I look after retail media effectiveness and the digital performance tracks inside ISBA specifically. Okay. Yeah.
Cool, we'll come on to more of that in a moment, but before that, which pub are we in and why did you choose it?
Yeah, so we are in this pub, not because of the pub, but because of where it's near to. So we're a stone's throw away from a street called Rupel Street. And for anyone that's not been walked down Rupel Street, you've got to do it, because it's the only street left on the South Bank, or in this area near Waterloo, which still looks exactly the same as it did in the 20s, 30s, 40s. So it's almost like walking down memory lane. You can almost like see someone washing the steps at the beginning. And my dad was born near here and grew up around here. So I love coming to this place and the pubs around it, because I'll just sit and have a beer with my dad and he'll tell me, oh, I went to school there, or your auntie went here, and I used to play with that boy down there in that street. So it's always a nice walk down memory lane for me.
Very good. And actually it was a walk down memory lane coming for me here today, because I moved to London 20 years ago this week and actually worked just at the bottom of this street at IBM. So
okay.
Yeah, it was a trip down memory lane for me too.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Frequented this pub a lot on a Thursday night.
Oh, right. I see.
Many a media Thursday in here.
There you go. Okay, good. Full circle.
Yeah, exactly. And what's been your pick of the week and why? Personally or professionally?
Yeah, well, I was desperately trying to think of a professional one, but I couldn't get out of the head so I was at a 40th birthday on Saturday, and my dad band played. So I was played with a new band that I've put together with a few dads at the school.
Oh.
And it's equal parts terrifying because I'm playing in public the first time, I think, 20 years. The drummer hasn't played his drum kit for like 25 years. He had to get it down from the attic. So we're all basically going through some sort of midlife crisis, reliving our teenage years. But every time we do it, it's really fun.
Is it covers or original hits?
All covers, yeah. We are definitely not going to try and go down the original hits wise.
I feel like we need to get a dad band on the stage at Shockable next week.
Hey, there you go, yeah. I'll have a look at the set list and see if there's some sort of tangible, is there some sort of way we can link it back in some way? Yeah. Basket case, Green Day.
Yes, I love that. Create a set list. So, you mentioned ISBA and the things that you're doing. You've recently launched a very comprehensive report into the state of UK retail media. Do you want to tell everybody more about that? The reasons for doing it, who's commissioned it, why you did it in the first place? Yeah,
sure. So our members are quite FMCG heavy and CPG heavy. We every year we reset our priorities, and our brands come together, CMO level, all the way down to sort of the media practitioners, and sort of set our agenda for the year. For the last 3 years, because we have been FMCG, CPG heavy, retail media has come up as a priority. So it's been quite a nice place for us to sort of convene a lot of industry discussion around this, because we've got the FMCG, CPGs who are spending a lot, but we've also got like Sainsbury's, Tesco, Boots. They're all of our members and also sit on our board as well. And they're obviously busy spinning out retail media offerings on the media side. So we've done a few things over the last couple of years. So we've convened a cross-industry group, including agencies, brands and retailers, to create some standards. So created some some standards that were very much needed just around definitions and metrics, which is very much part of your world. That was almost 2 years ago, 2023 we released that. We're not a standard setting body though, ISBA, we are a trade body, so we're very happy that the ISBA Europe has sort of taken on that mantle, and we're now in discussions with them on the standards. So a lot of what this study was about was what's next for us, like what is the future for governance and transparency in retail media. It was funded by 7 of our FMCG and CPG members, and they have the same questions, I guess. So it was a really far-reaching sort of remit that we were given by the funding participants. We gave them some sort of areas that we were going to look into, but it was very much like a qualitative piece of research. So we think it's the biggest sort of first-party piece of research that's been done into the UK retail media ecosystem. 25 different participants, including Sky. I think we had about 1,000 pages of transcripts by the end of all the interviews, because we did a 1-hour interview for each participant, and also a little bit of survey in there as well. Huge amount of, we really just wanted to speak to the experts and understand exactly what is the temperature at the moment, and what's the best advice we can give back to the brands that have studied this. And it's been very interesting, as you can imagine, hearing from all the different parts of the ecosystem. No massive shocks in there, as we're probably going to talk about. We haven't got like a ta-da moment within this release, which will be available, and the abridged version will be available to everyone to read on the ISBA website. But really, I think it's just probably the first time you will maybe see a lot of this stuff discussed all together, from all the different points of view of the ecosystem, which is what ISBA's almost like born to do. We're really good at that. We're really good at convening lots of different pieces of the industry. Yeah.
Well, I've had a sneak peek of it. I know it will already be out by the time we release this, but I have had a sneak peek, and I can vouch for the fact it is incredibly comprehensive. I actually confessed to you earlier that I couldn't read it all. It's a bit too much for me, so I put it into Notebook LM. So if anybody else is struggling to get through it, put it into Notebook LM. It gives you a 27-minute podcast, and you get all the highlights. It's absolutely fantastic.
Right. Yeah.
But nice. What are those highlights? What are the key takeaways that you uncovered from it?
Yeah. So I mean, when we did the interviews and at the qual stage, we didn't set out to sort of ask very specific questions. I mean, everyone got the same questions, but there were about 30 questions. Yeah. So what we've tried to do is then just summarise where we think we found the most interesting pieces and where we sort of saw a lot of challenges and opportunities. So first one is definitely can be categorised as people, skills, talent, however you want to call it. Again, often talked about, but I think the really interesting part is that a lot of the CPG, FMCGs are looking at retail media as a way to reorg and restructure. And I know you've spoken about this a lot on previous podcasts, but bringing commerce, trade, and media teams together is a really big challenge, because you're not just sort of looking at previous silos have been sort of quite vertical inside the marketing organisation. A horizontal change where you're trying to bring all these different pieces together is really difficult. So huge people challenge, and then you've also got the people challenge reflected in the agencies and the retail media network. So all basically saying we're looking for a unicorn. Which is someone who understands shopper trade, commerce, but actually also understands paid media and how to optimise search and reporting, etc. So that was a really big part of the report, and something which I think is going to be not fixed now, but will go on. The second one was around sort of strategy. So what I found really interesting from the report, again speaking to the advertisers, that we asked the question, why are you spending on retail media? Everyone had quite different answers, and which is really interesting, because for one person it's I want a discount, pure and simple from my retail media network, and then there's all the other reasons for spending, i.e. performance, brand,
the defensive strategy,
because my competitor will if I don't. Exactly. So I think that was really interesting, just getting all the different opinions from everyone on that one.
I think also in that section it was interesting just kind of how experimental it is still for a few people. Yeah,
you mentioned that. Yeah, I mean, I didn't say this at the top, but in my introduction, but I've never actually been a retail media practitioner. I'm a digital performance guy, so I've run a few Amazon DSP, campaigns in the past. But so I very much am in the enthusiasm. I mean, I've probably listened to every single one of these podcasts, for example, that
Yeah.
you've done. Thank you for that, by the way. So I'm still at that very excited phase of this all feels new, and I definitely got that feeling from the brands as well, especially when you're speaking to the media guys who are maybe taking on the retail media aspect of in their campaigns now. Very much new, very experimental, and so it does feel like we're at the start. But I think there is, I imagine, quite a lot of people listening to this podcast as well.
Yeah, I found it kind of crazy that was one of the things that actually came out of it for me, was just how experimental it is.
Yeah.
I know there's obviously new formats being released all of the time, and
Yes.
people probably are experimenting with it as a brand channel, for example, when Amazon's launching more around Prime or whatever else on the DSP. So I think that it was surprising for me, especially given how much spend is already going to the channel. Like, how big is this opportunity?
Right.
It feels like if it's still very experimental, there is so much more money that could potentially get pumped into this.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's just a matter of time.
Yeah, and I think that came out in the report as well, because we were asking around where are you investing now and where might it be different. So on-site, off-site, in-store, and I think everyone said on-site's still saturated. You know, from an advertiser point of view, we just spend there because we have to, like you say. Off-site and in-store very much came out as the opportunities, and I think that's probably where a lot of the concentration is going to be.
It's where it also opens the opportunity for non-endemos as well, right?
Right,
Like,
exactly.
You don't even have to be selling on these retailers anymore to be able to use their first-party data. So it gets really interesting.
Yeah.
Sorry, I hijacked that point. What's the third one? What's the third finding that you?
The third finding. So the other one was very much just around just partnerships.
Yeah.
So what does a good partnership look like? How do you choose a good partnership within retail media? And again, we got the different points of view, because what we were able to do was ask the brands, what does it look like for you? But also, we can ask the retail media networks within this, what does good look like from you? Like where are the budgets coming from the brand side? You know, what does a sort of concentrated plan look like? So that was so nice, because we got loads of best practice and case studies sort of rammed into that research from both sides, which is really nice, and including the agencies as well. But we also discussed around JBPs, joint business plans for those new to it, and then joint marketing plans, which is sort of the newer buzzword, which is really interesting, because I think, again, no one size fits all in the UK, certainly, and each 5 of our retail media networks that we interviewed think about those things in a completely different way. Some of them don't do JBPs anymore, as you probably know, some of them still do. So that partnerships aspect, again, for someone that's coming from myself, more of a digital performance, coming into it a bit newer, you would have your joint business plan with Google and Facebook, but that's all to do with media and spend. It's not to do with something that's a completely different part. So I guess the most interesting part from that, from my point of view as well, is like what's next. So I think definitely we're going to advise that brands need a separate retail media contract outside, because at the moment it looks like it's more of an appendix to an existing sort of shopper trade commerce deal. So we're going to be exploring that a little bit more going forward. So part of the reason why this report was quite interesting for us is that it's answering some questions around and educated, but also sort of maybe painting a bit more of a picture of where we're going to go next, as well as a sort of governance, transparency piece gets a bit more mature.
I think it was also in that section where you kind of talk about I obviously heard this as a podcast, so I'm like, you talked about it. But talking around having like one plan, one set of goals, one budget pot, and kind of trying to bring all of these different teams together and have that relationship, like one relationship with the retailer. I think in reality, that's going to take a long time. It's the change management piece is going to be so difficult within a lot of these brands, but I know many that we speak to, that's where they would love to try and get to.
Yeah, definitely. I think we've added a few case studies into this one. And I'm actually, some of them might be removed from the abridged report which everyone can see from the ISBA website, but definitely the case studies where there's best practice happening have exactly that. Everyone's in the room at the same time at the beginning. Everyone, and it's a concentrated plan across everything, all touch points, but it's, in terms of the percentage that's actually happening compared to the budget, is tiny. And there's still so many learnings from it. So I think the best practice bit is well trodden, but it's not happening yet, certainly at scale. We saw that from the report, yeah.
Any other findings you want to call out?
Yeah, well, I think again, the most interesting one, again, because I think it's just, again, it's not new, but standardization and metrics. I think, again, we released those standards almost 2 years ago, and that was very much around metrics. It's very clear from this study that we need to move forward with customizable standardization. Now,
sounds like an oxymoron.
It sounds like it because it is, and I think customizable, I love, it's such an interesting challenge to talk about, isn't it? I think, this isn't the beginning of that conversation where we need to have, everyone needs to be talking about the same thing definitions wise, but there is massive need to have some customization in there because retail media networks are different and they should be. I think with standardization, we often go down a route before asking why we need it. And I think we need it, and brands are calling for it for sure because they want to look at a report and they want to see it all together. But also, why are we asking all the retail media networks to standardize? Is it because we want them to be like Google and we want them to be like Better? Well, we don't actually, and that's not what the ecosystem's asking for. We know that they're different because they need to be and because they offer a huge amount of difference for the consumer and the purchase journeys, and therefore the way that those brands need to interact with that retail media should be different, and it should be. But so as a trade body and as a sort of bringing the ecosystem together, how do we walk that path in a sensible way? How do we make sure everyone's got a voice when we're talking about what you can and can't send in reports? And I think that's going to be like an ongoing, really fascinating conversation, I think. And again, the good thing about this report is that it's come early, I think, to have those conversations because everyone's ready for those and everyone's ready to join in the conversation, make sure it works for them. Yeah.
I remember when you launched the standards a couple of years ago, we actually spoke at the event.
Yes.
And one of the things that we were saying is actually standards are nice, but it's not what the industry really needs right now. They want more transparency from the retailers. They want more control over the things that they can measure. They want definitions of what the data is that is being provided and what it means and the look back windows and all that kind of stuff that like many of the retailers just weren't providing at the time. And I think we've definitely evolved a lot in those 2 years in terms of what the retailers are making available. There's certainly, and it came out in your report loud and clear, like there's still a lot of room to go there in terms of the data sharing.
Yeah, absolutely. And you just made a very nice segue to my final point, which was not practice, but on the value piece. So that was kind of the last one, the measurement piece. So what am I getting from this from investment? And I think again, you have to tie that into what you did it for in the first place, because this is why I did it, therefore your KPIs and your measurement needs to be different. But there is definitely a gap, I think, in verification. And that's again come out quite clear that quite a lot of brands are sort of asking for verification, maybe not receiving it. There are a lot of tangible and honest reasons why that can't happen. For on-site, for example, and because the tech's just not there on a lot of the RMN. So again, I don't think we're not going to use this report to sort of say it's not like the programmatic ecosystem where it really needed it, almost because it was like a bit of a murky supply chain. We think there's a sensible path to verification, and retail media networks, agencies and tech can get better. But again, it's why are you asking for it and what's reasonable to ask, and it's okay if it can't be delivered all the time for everything. But what does the path look like to getting full transparency across everything? That's almost tied up in this sort of value measurement part, which I think is going to be really interesting as well.
And I think that's why we're seeing this trend of so many retailers building their tech themselves, rethinking. They all stood up these networks through third-party supplies, and now they're rethinking, is that the right approach? Do we need more control so that we can control more of this data sharing, measurement, visibility that we provide?
Absolutely.
I think there's definitely an interesting trend there.
Yeah.
Was there anything, I know you mentioned one thing, but is there anything else that surprised you in the report at all?
Nothing really, I guess. So this isn't like a sort of jazz hands, we found something, like there's a brand new, so nothing was a bit of a shock. I think the thing that surprised me, actually, to be honest, was how honest people were and how willing they were to share. And I think that isn't always the case in a I'm not going to call it a channel, but in a maybe a marketing topic like retail media, if I can still at that. I won't get told off on LinkedIn for calling it that. But we asked everyone also, this is again well trodden and a bit boring, but we asked everyone for their definition of retail media, because
there you got 25 different responses.
Genuinely good. Yeah. So that still surprised me as well, in that so what we've tried to do is amalgamate everything together and come up with a definition which actually looks like it suits everyone. So feedback on that, audience, would be great if everyone reads the report, because that's at least something we can maybe continue to talk about and disagree or not on. But yeah, no, everyone's just honesty and ability to share. I think one of the retail media networks said they've not seen collaboration like this in their 20 years of being in the industry. And I think that is actually, when I see the report and when I was part of the interviews, everyone's very happy to it. And all the quotes and all the findings are anonymized as well. So it's not like people are doing it for a sales pitch and because they want, had their agenda. Broadly, everyone has the same agenda, which is sort of transparency, governance, like how can we move forward together, raise the water levels, and that everyone wins. I think that's just been, been really interesting to sort of.
I think it's interesting, like the retailers I speak to, I know that there are so many operational challenges for them. There's so much pressure internally to be showing a return from this channel, whatever we want to call it, that they don't have the answer.
No, yeah.
And they want to talk and they want to share. And I think that maybe this collaboration that we're seeing is coming from a place of nobody really has the solution to all of this yet. So let's share with each other and see if we can we're in it together. We're going to make this work as a collective rather than on our own.
Yeah. No, I completely, that's really echoed and mirrored in it actually as well. Even on, and then also on the FMCG side. We had, some people that you'd expect would be fairly competitive on the buy side as well. Really happy to share, and be transparent about sort of what's working, what's not working, which again I think is not always normal.
What are you hoping that people will do with these insights over the next kind of 6, 12, 18 months?
This was getting everyone to be a participant in this meant everyone had to sign a contract. So that part, getting quite a lot of the ecosystem sort of signed into this sort of study and the way of doing things almost is just.
It's a job in itself.
It really is a job in itself, and making sure everyone's got exactly the same T's and C's across everything. So really, this really does feel like a foundation and a mandate, and sort of to go on and just say, well, this is approved. Like everyone's seen this report now, of the participants. And there's some clear next steps. I think we want to continue to sort of show best practice organisationally and structurally on the people front, because I think that's going to be restructuring it. I mentioned about the contract, maybe there's a template or some best practice principles, which again, I think probably maybe the larger retail media networks and maybe the larger FMCGs have, but there's a lot of smaller retailers that will benefit from that. Exactly, the big old long tail. So we represent all brands, and so we want to kind of make sure that we're doing as much just for the sort of small and medium enterprise brands as much as the larger ones. And I think that value verification thing, that's not going to happen unless everyone comes along on that journey. So really the call to action I think is just lean in. Come to our events, please. Half of them are for our members only, but a lot of them we invite people and the experts in the industry to come, and we will present and we'll talk through challenges. So really, I hope again, everyone, if you have, if people disagree with something in there, it's almost better. Come along and let us know why, and we can talk about it, which is, I think going to be really interesting in the next 18 months.
And we are certainly going to be covering a lot of the topics at Shoppable, which I cannot miss this opportunity to give it a plug next week. So So my favourite part, obviously, of Retail Media Thursdays, you've watched enough of them, this is the part where I terrorise my guests.
And I'm so nervous.
Don't worry, I've actually been I've been quite tame today.
Oh, good.
So I'm going to change one of them though. You just mentioned your dad band.
Oh, right.
What's your go-to karaoke song?
Oh, wow. Go-to karaoke song. It's White Stripes. I just don't know what to do with myself. Oh. That goes down very well.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Because also you don't have to sing that in tune with that one. Just belt it out.
Yeah. Mine's Britney Spears.
Nice.
I love rock and roll, or we love it, whatever it is.
Ah, good.
Last thing you bought online?
Oh gosh, vacuum cleaner.
Was that a Prime Day purchase? Because that's my next question. What are you saving for on Prime Day?
When you mentioned Prime Day earlier, I thought, I just bought a vacuum cleaner. What an idiot! I should have waited. But it's not a Dyson, it's not a Sharp either. So yeah, it probably would have done that.
When I was sat waiting for you earlier, I was looking at the Lightning deals and I was like, I have always needed a stand-up paddleboard. Like, I never needed one, never even thought about buying one. And I was like, of course I need one, it's on sale on Prime Day. I'm a sucker, I need to drop.
Was it an ad that drew you to it as well?
No, it was just, well, it was on the Lightning deals. Do they pay for those?
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure.
Some sort of sponsorship
I'm
in
a
there?
sucker.
Right.
You won't believe I work in this industry and know all the tricks of the trade. Last gig you went to?
I went to see the Strokes in Victoria Park. I think that's the last one.
Strokes?
Yeah.
Takes me right back to university.
Well, that was 2 years ago now, so that just shows I don't really do enough go to gigs, do I? Yeah. I got small kids.
Yeah, there you go. And your death row meal, starter, main course, dessert.
Oh, this is a whole podcast in itself, isn't it? Mm-hmm. I mean, sushi for sure. Got to be in there.
Is that a starter or your main
I
course?
can have maybe a sushi starter.
Have what you want, you're on death row.
Great, death row. Yeah, sushi starter, roast dinner, because she's got to have that
Yeah.
with me. And then cheesecake. Can't. That's, we have a rule in the restaurant. If I see a cheesecake, I have to buy it. My wife sees tiramisu, she has to buy it. So we don't have any regrets. So there you go.
Well, it's been good to see you. Good to meet you finally in person.
Yeah, you too.
And
Thank you
I
so
will
much
see you
for
again
having me.
next week at Shovelwall.
Yeah, cheers. Thank you so much.